after all these allegations came out, these things came out. Obviously, like Neiman, they all make very good money. Like this is their livelihood playing chess. Like they don't have other jobs. Like they're like some chess players are like streamers on Twitch. They make YouTube videos. They do commentary. They like do chess commentary, things like that. But their livelihood revolves around chess. So you can see like how devastating it could be to have a cheater like branded as being a cheater. It's like it's basically it can ruin your career for the rest of your life, and it can make your game. You can't play in tournaments. You're not gonna have respect on your name. Whatever you say, the credibility is always gonna be question. So this is the craziest news that just came out recently. It was like yesterday. Neiman is dropping a $100 million defamation suit against Carlsen.
Momo, thank you for coming on the show. I want to get right into it, man. This stuff is trending. I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm seeing it in random podcasts. I saw this in the My First Million podcast, which is a business podcast. They're
Yeah,
talking about the whole chess cheating scandal. I know a
yeah.
name, Hans. I know there's another guy. I don't know the full story. Talk me through what's going on. I want to understand what's happening, and then I want to extract and see if there's any branding lessons that the audience can take for their own personal brands or small business brands.
Yeah. Cheema, do you play chess?
I played like 2 weeks ago for the first time in years.
Okay. Okay. I actually never played chess up until 2020. And that's actually where chess took a big leap in playing numbers. People buying chess sets all over. And I
Because of
think
COVID?
there was like a big, because of COVID, people were going back to board games. People were going back to like the original things that, cured boredom for thousands of years. And chess was a game, played thousands of years. So I remember I looked at Google Trends and there was like a big uptick in 2020. And then the Queen's Gambit came out. I don't know if you saw that show on Netflix in October
Yeah.
of
I heard
2020.
about that. Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it's like a big chess show. I watched it. I got into it September 2020, so it was perfect in October 2020. And I got really into chess after that. And then so now I'm like, I'm keeping up with the news. I know the big personalities. And Magnus Carlsen, he's like LeBron right now. He is the GOAT. This guy was playing chess since he was like 3 years old. He's 5-time world champion. He's a
Mm.
legend in the making. Like he's making millions off this chess stuff, right? So like he's probably the most famous and the best chess player in the world right now. So I
He's
believe
ranked
I
number
forgot
one.
which country he's from. He's ranked number one. He's the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Like he is uh people argue like LeBron, MJ is the GOAT, but like whatever. But
He's
he's like
Norwegian.
unquestionably the GOAT right now. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no doubt in it. It's like when MJ was playing. Like
Mm-hmm.
he won six champs back to back. So he's the GOAT of chess, and that's him. That's you can't take that away from him. And Hans is an American player, so his name is Hans Niemann. He's like a 19-year-old, so he's like new
Uh-huh.
to the game, like Carlsen was like 31. He's been doing this since he was 5. Like he played against Kasparov, which you saw
Scary.
the masterclass they have in chess,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
And on masterclass, he taught one of those, right?
Yeah.
So OG, he was like played against him. He gave him a run for his money, and so he's been playing it for a while. But Hans, new kid on the block, right? And now they're coming out with this cheating scandal. So basically, the way it started is like they were supposed to play in a tournament together, and
Mm-hmm.
they're doing a tournament promotion, right? This was a while ago. They were like playing on a board in the sand in the beach or something to like promote it. The games were casual, but like Carl said, like he's 5-time world champ. He's from Norway. He's giving this man the hands. You feel me? So he was beating him. It was undecisive. Like he was beating him for sure. Like it was decisive. And then Neimann, he played the same way, nothing happened, and then they played against each other in this tournament, and then Neimann won
Right. So you're saying when they were playing casually,
casually.
Neiman
Yes,
lost.
top 5 times out of 5. Like he was out, like
So
easy, like it was
at this
decisive.
like whatever casual event that they were at, he lost like
Yeah,
it
promotion. It
wasn't
was
even
like a
close.
promotional event. Yeah, Yeah, it wasn't even
Uh-huh.
close.
And then you're saying they get to an actual tournament,
Then they get to an actual tournament, and
and
Neiman wins.
oh, okay.
Yeah, Neiman wins, and it was an upset, right? So Carlsen, right after that happened, he quit the tournament and like protest, right? After Neiman won,
Mm-hmm.
he just basically quit the tournament, and he didn't say anything for weeks. And I remember when this came out, we were talking about it, right? When he just quit and he didn't say anything for weeks. He had some vague tweets out like, oh, like, oh, when the truth comes out, like, you know what I'm saying, like those like vague, like he's like that's how Carlsen is go like in big league because he's sending out tweets like NBA players. You feel me? Like,
Uh.
like just like he's sending subliminal tweets, about what happened, and then like people were suspecting cheating. That's why he quit over it. He was protesting, but he didn't really say anything, right? And then people were like, oh, what happened? And then it came out that Neiman, like when he was like 14, 15, earlier on, when he played online games, he would cheat, right? Like he said, I used to cheat when I was a kid, but I've never cheated recently. I don't cheat, right? That's what he was saying. That came out. Some news came out, and then it added
Hmm.
more to the chess world. It added fire to the flame because Carlsen was quiet at this time. It came out that Neiman used to cheat. So like they're like, okay, so basically Carlsen is saying he cheated, but Carlsen hadn't said anything at this point. It was like Cold War Russia, like it was implied, but it wasn't really said. So Hans Niemann admitted that he was cheating and everything like that, and then Carlsen came out and basically accused Niemann of cheating, right?
So Hans admitted to cheating in the past on online games, right?
In the past, in the
In the
past, yes,
past in online games, but not
yeah,
against
not over the
what's his
board,
name?
not over the board, or not in like tournaments, not against Carlsen.
Yeah, yeah, not against Carlsen. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then now Carlsen
Yeah,
is saying that he
he
cheated.
did cheat. The way these high level chess players work, right? They're like they know up until like move 20, they know all the moves that are gonna happen. Like
Hmm.
like they know all the opening moves, all the opening sequences, the things that happen. So if you watch a chess tournament, it's like boom, 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 and then they get to a point where there's like it could go either way, and then that is called like in the middle game is going to decide where the game's going to go. But up until that point, they know all the combinations of the most popular like opening plays of like what their opponent uses, what they like to use, what they're usually gonna do, how they're gonna respond up until like the games are not decided up until really the middle game, and then the end game. And if you're really a pro player, like sometimes you'll just try a new opener just to throw your opponent entirely off, right? Because that's not what they're
Hmm.
expecting at all, like a crazy opener. Because what they're expecting, that I'm counter with this, he's gonna counter with this, bada bing, bada boom, is gonna like it's almost like it's like a warm up basically to get to the actual game.
Uh,
So, but what happens is when a chess player like is and obviously they're all human, so they're not gonna make the ideal moves every time. Only like a chess engine or a chess computer would like can make like the ideal move. This is the right move to make at this point to win the game, to have a better chance of winning the game, etc.
hmm.
So when Neiman was hitting all these moves, and like he's like Carlsen's like, bro, like how did he do this move? How is he hit? Like there's no way. Like I played against this guy. There's no way he just knew this move. Like he thought of this. He came up with this. He decided he's gonna do this on his own, right? So that's basically like that's what Carlson suspected. That's what he accused him of. And then chess.com came out with like 1,000-page report about how they suspected that Neiman cheated in like 100 games in like the past, right?
Oh,
So that
really?
was a big bombshell as well. Big bombshell. They came out with this report.
Uh,
Chess.com came out with it. And then now they're like, oh, man, like he's cheating. He's a cheater. Like, and he's climbing up. He's like a grandmaster. He's 19 years old. He's building up a name for himself, right?
Another thing
Yeah.
that I noticed or I found when I was kind of looking into this, in addition to so this chess report comes out, but Carlson also says that Hans's mentor, the guy that taught him chess, his name's Delugi, I think. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But he was
Yeah.
banned by chess.com for 2 cheating incidents in 2017 and 2020. And so
Dang.
that's another reason why Carlson thought that Hans was cheating.
What happens next, right? And this is the craziest part. And this is the part that's like uh setting everything on fire. You know, like what's his name? Magnus accused him of cheating. Carlsen accused him of cheating. His mentor was banned for being a cheater. Neimann's mentor, his amazing moves against Carlsen made him suspect him of cheating. And then he basically this report came out from chess.com. That's really like damning. Basically, like it's a damning report.
Can you
You
can you
know,
talk about the AI
go ahead.
piece a little bit? So I think my understanding is that like a chess grandmaster, so basically what they did is they ran an analysis on how close to AI,
Yeah,
based on like your last 100 games or whatever, how close to AI the grandmasters were. And I think like the top
yeah,
grandmasters were like 60-70%, something like that. Don't quote me on that, but like something
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
And then they
yeah,
looked at Hans, and he was like literally he had multiple games at 100%.
yeah. Yeah, and
Is that
that's
right?
that's why that is correct. That's what basically what the chess.com report was saying, and basically these chess AIs they're known as like chess engines, right? There's Stockfish, there's multiple chess engines, and back in the day, this was in 1997. Gary Kasparov, OG Grand Chess Master, he talks about chess a lot. He teaches chess. He does like complex videos about chess. He does the master class on chess. OG Grandmaster. He played against this first IBM chess computer, and this back in the day when to get a chess engine computer like that to be the Grandmaster, it was like those big wires computers. It looked like the Enigma,
Mm,
the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like those big, huge computers, right? But obviously, we made so many advancements in hardware and software that my computer, like a Chromebook, it can run one of those chess engines, right? And basically, what it
hold
does
on,
is
hold
it
on, hold on.
analyzes. Yeah,
Hold on. Did you say your Chromebook can beat Gary Kasparov?
my smartphone can be Gary Kasparov, basically, right? Any chess engine, they have it on like the smartphone apps, easy.
That's
These
crazy.
are like advanced
Look,
chess
I could
engines,
understand. So
and
I could understand like a MacBook or an iPhone or something. But you're saying your Chromebook can do it?
a Chromebook can do it. I'm being that serious. A Chromebook. It's online, bro. Like this chess engine, everything's in the cloud, man. It's 2022. And Chromebooks are not as bad as what they used to be. I'm not talking about like the clunky, Chromebooks that kids use. They probably can still do it, but in this example, I'm using a nice Chromebook. I don't want to disrespect
That's wild.
Mr.
Yeah.
Kasparov. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to come from me.
You're gonna get a
But
defamation lawsuit, man.
yeah, I don't want a defamation lawsuit. But basically, these computers they're what they do is they analyze all the best scenarios, all the scenarios that could happen, and they give the best moves, and they rank like there's the best move to take here, and there's the best move, and use like a centipon ranking to rank which side has better chances of winning. So if you ever play chess against or you like analyze your games after you play online, there's like a little bar that moves up and down for white or black, like who's winning, who has the best chance of winning. And sometimes I'm allowed this. I don't even play chess that much, but sometimes you're like, man, it's even, and then you make one stupid move, and your bar just drops all the way down. Your bar is down here, right? Like this doesn't happen in the Grandmaster game. It's like right in the middle, right in the middle, right in the middle, and then there's like
Mm,
sometimes it fluctuates, and that's when it gets crazy. But like if me and you were to play, our bars would go like like it's back and forth. It's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
anybody's game, like we're novices. So these AIs, that's how they're able to like catch cheating. They're able to like compare, Grandmaster plays against the AIs, and what like they predict is the best move, like Stockfish and a bunch of other chess engines. And basically, like you said, Demon had, like basically it was like 100% with the machine, which is impossible, like very, like you know what I'm saying. He'd have to be like, it's like humanly impossible, basically. And after all these allegations came out, these things came out, obviously, like, Neiman, they all make very good money. Like, this is their livelihood playing chess. Like, they don't have other jobs, Like, they're like
Mm,
some chess players are like streamers on Twitch. They make YouTube videos. They do commentary. They like do chess commentary, things like that. But their livelihood revolves around chess. So you can
right.
you can see like how devastating it could be to have a cheater, like branded as being a cheater. You know, it's like it's basically it can ruin your career for the rest of your life, and it can make your game. You can't play in tournaments. You're not gonna have respect on your name. Whatever you say, the credibility is always gonna be questioned. So this is the
Yeah.
craziest news that just came out recently. It was like
Right.
yesterday. Neiman is dropping a $100 million defamation suit against Carlsen,
That's
and
wild.
that's I mean 100 M's. That's a lot of money. And Carlsen
That's like
is
never
worth
work
more
again
than that.
money.
Yeah, that's never work again, buddy. That don't you worry about chess, homie. You're good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
forget about it. You can just chill out. Even if you're a cheater, it doesn't matter. You win this, it doesn't really matter. You're winning. But
So, so,
he
so
alleges that
what you just said, like, so I was gonna wait for this, but what you just said is kind of what I was gonna highlight here. So basically, there's a lot of lessons that we can take from a branding perspective from
yeah,
this whole incident. But one of the things that I can't help but think is that these guys are both grandmasters of chess. These guys probably thought through every single scenario of every single move that they could play in like the real world as well, right? Like it's not like, and so I'm thinking, what if this is Hans's like checkmate in real life to make $100 million? You know what I mean? Like, what if he's just like this whole time he was just trying to make $100 million?
if he can actually prove like this is play, that's a lifetime play right there. That's genius. If he can prove he
That
never cheated,
that's a
he can
lifetime
definitely
checkmate,
prove
man.
that's a lifetime. He won life. Forget about chess. But
He
if he
won the
can prove he
game,
didn't
yeah.
cheat, he I think for me like if he can prove he didn't cheat, you know what I'm saying, like conclusively, you can definitely the case for that it defamed him is definitely a strong case. It ruined. I mean, like we're hearing about it. Me and you are not really super into chess, and we're hearing about this. I've never heard about Hans Niemann. I've heard about Carlsen up until the cheating scandal. So I'm only hearing about him in bad light. So he can definitely make the argument that it's a defamation but if he could just prove that it was a wrongful defamation, he didn't actually cheat. That's 100 M's in the bank, and Carlsen can pay it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Carlsen can pay
is
it.
he actually worth more
So
than 100 million?
he's worth than like he's basically he's buying chess.com. They're buying his app. It's called Play Magnus app. Basically
Hmm.
where you play against him, the moves that he'd make. It's basically a chess engine based around the moves that he would make, right? And they're
Oh, okay.
they're
I'm looking
spending
at this celebrity net worth thing right now, and I don't know how
yeah.
accurate this is. You know how old this stuff is. So it says
Yeah,
he's worth 50 million.
yeah. They're buying this app for nearly 83 million
Oh, really?
on this
Okay.
just play
So
Magnus app. Just
so
just
he
that.
so he's
You
up
know?
there.
He's up there. He's
Yeah.
been playing chess for a long time. He's been winning tournaments for a long time. He has sponsorships with chess for a long time. And the thing is, especially after 2020, chess has taken a boom on Twitch, on YouTube. They have
Yeah.
celebrities
Okay.
play tournaments. Chess took like a huge, leap in how much is viewed and how much consecutively it makes, right? So definitely Carlsen can be, he's one of those money makers. Like I said, 83 million just for his app,
Yeah.
and chess.com, they have a lot of those. They had an app where you're playing Beth from the Queen's Gambit. Like, like in the chess app, right? Chess.com like makes you they stream actual tournaments, they have tournaments themselves. They're like one of the biggest, if not they're the biggest chess app, right? So,
Hmm.
them he's Neiman, the case is making is that they're colluding because chess.com came out with the report. They're gonna buy Carlos Magnus's app. It's in their favor to do this. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out in the next, in
Yeah.
the next months. But it's definitely crazy that it's chess is chess player can even sue for that much, or a chess player can even make that much, and just the implications that it can have on name and likeness.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just crazy.
Absolutely. I think so. For the audience that's listening and is thinking like, "Hey, why are we talking about chess?" We're gonna get into the lessons here. So one of the reasons I want to start doing a little bit more of these is just to like kind of highlight that you can take branding lessons and maybe not even branding lessons, but general business lessons from a wide array of experiences, things that are happening, right? So I think first off, you're mentioning that. I mean, we'll get into the whole cheating scandal in a sec, but first off, you're mentioning that uh, Magnus Carlsen is about to sell his app for $83 million. So this is in it of itself a big lesson, right? Like, especially in sports and anything where, forget sports, anything where you can say you are the best at something, you automatically command premium pricing. You command a premium. You command certain respect that comes with being the best, right? So LeBron can charge
Yeah.
more for his shoes, right? Magnus Carlsen can charge whatever to play against him. You know what I mean? Like, just
Yeah.
because you are the best at something, you can charge an arm and a leg, and people are willing to pay that premium to be associated with the best, right? And so that's lesson one. From a branding standpoint, I think a lot of people, especially if they're just trying to build their business right now, they're not necessarily looking at, like, I'll talk about the podcast, for example, right? One of the things that I've struggled with is like, I want this to be a vehicle that reaches more people and is, helping people grow their business and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's like, if I want to get there, I have to become better as a host, better as like a video editor, video producer, and just a synthesizer in general, right? I have to develop my skills, and I have to become at a level where people like, I actually have something of value to say. When I do that, then I think the rest will kind of follow. But that's number one, right? Being the best carries weight. Number two, if we look at the
Yes.
whole cheating scandal, I think one of the things that you have to look at is that uh, when you are called a cheater, right? There are certain situations. I'll give you an example. For the Formula One fans, if you remember what happened in Abu Dhabi of 2021, basically, we don't have to get into the whole debate here, but Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton go head to head on the last lap, and Max Verstappen ends up winning because of a series of like weird events that basically happened, right? Now, Lewis Hamilton,
Yeah.
what he
Yeah. I
does
remember
in
that.
this, in this time period is Lewis Hamilton goes off of all social media. He doesn't make a sound for 40 days, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because he was like, everyone saw what happened, and there was no, like, everyone's coming to his defense for him, right? They were speaking
Yeah.
to his character, right? And they're speaking to like all the hard work that he put in, right? And then he didn't have to go out and uh, you know say anything, right? But now on the other
Yeah.
hand, what we have here in the case of Hans is that, like, okay, this guy looks sketchy as it is because he's admitted to cheating in the past. Now,
Yeah.
because you have this black stain on your reputation, you have to go out and defend your honor. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Whereas, like,
Mhm.
if he had a clean record, right? And this is something that is like, this is beyond just like business branding, but this is like your personal branding in life in general. Is like, once you
Mhm.
have a black stain of whatever, like you're known as a liar, known as a cheater, it's very hard to shake those, because people
Yeah.
will always remember, oh, like, I remember there was this one time, Momo did XYZ, right? And it's, once you
Yeah.
lose trust, it's very hard to regain that trust, right? And
Yeah.
so, like, I don't know how the timing was, but like, the worst, it seems like one of the really unfortunate things to happen in this whole scenario, let's assume he's innocent for a second, right? Let's assume he didn't cheat.
Mhm.
One of the unfortunate things that happened, and this is probably a pro chess move by Magnuson, is to kind of highlight these things after he's accusing him, right? So
Yeah.
it comes to light, and so now it's already on everyone's mind that, hey, he is a known cheater. Oh, his mentor is also a known cheater. And so that's like a, you're putting him in a box. That's like a check, right? But then
Mhm.
Hans comes back
Mhm.
with a checkmate. He's like, I'm going to sue you for $100 million, right? So if he does,
Definition. Yeah.
yeah. So that's one thing. Like, look, number one, ideally, you want to just have a clean reputation and really work hard to guard your reputation. Like, when you say you're going to do something, you do it. When you say,
Yeah.
like, you're not known as a cheater, a liar, any of these things, that goes a long way, right? Because if you're
Yeah.
known as these kind of things, then people will come to your defense, right? But when there's a little bit of doubt, then people are like, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, then it becomes like a debate. Then people are on like social media debating, like, did he do it, did he not, right?
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah.
then there's two sides to the story. So that's number
Yeah.
one. Ideally, you don't want to, black stain on your reputation in the first place. The second thing is if you do
Mhm.
have ghosts in your closet, everyone has skeletons in their closet. I don't know why I called it ghosts, but anyone,
Yeah.
everyone has skeletons in their closet. If for whatever
Yeah.
reason those come to light, right, and you
Yeah.
have to, and you're in a situation where, like Hans is, where you're being accused for something, assuming he didn't do it again, that you didn't do,
Yeah.
then what you have to do is you have to go on the offensive and try to clear your name.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people
Yeah.
in that situation will think that you are guilty, right?
Yeah.
Because in
Yeah.
the case
Yeah.
of Lewis Hamilton, when he doesn't speak, like he doesn't need to speak, right? Because everyone saw what happened. But in
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
case, because
Yeah.
no one can figure out what actually happened, and then there's like a black stain on your reputation on top of it, it's like, okay, like if he's not saying anything, it kind of sounds guilty. It's like, how like
It's some.
people always tell
Yeah.
you like you can plead the fifth, but like when you plead the fifth,
Yeah.
the jury just thinks you're like super guilty.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to jail, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
you gotta have some stories. Like, speak up for yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's that those are kind of my key takeaways from this. And then like, of course, there's the element of like understanding just the mass amount of like how to capture attention and capitalize on trends. I think
Yeah.
just the way kind of Carlson kind of carried it out, like you described. I mean, I wasn't following real time, but
Yeah.
right, like just how things played out. Like, okay, he kind of hints at it on social media. You know what I mean? He's kind
Yeah.
of, it's like
Yeah.
a pro marketing move. Like, hey, like I'm not going to say anything explicitly just yet,
Yeah.
right? But like
Yeah.
everyone knows, everyone's like speculating now. Everyone, he was able to get everyone interested and into the discussion and start
Yeah. One hundred
questioning
percent.
before
Yeah.
even he said anything. Then when he says it, people had already been speculating, oh, like he's cheating and all that stuff. And so
Yeah.
that's those are my branding lessons from here. Now let me ask you this. Let's
I
just cut to the
have
chase.
another. I have actually another branding lesson
Yeah, go for it, man.
from that from what we just said. What's honestly is crazy to think about is that even with a black, all of us, like you said, have ghosts in the closet or skeletons in the closet, as you
Why you
said.
gotta do
So
me like
all of
that?
us have like, all of us have like things in our past. What would be crazy is that like if he used it's like 8 Mile. Have you ever seen 8 Mile?
Oh,
Have
that
you
is
ever seen 8 Mile?
that is game, man.
It's like that. It's like that. It's like, yeah, like Eminem was like, yeah, I am white. I do live in a trailer with my mom. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, yeah, and so what? And he's saying that's I went through that, but you don't know what the heck I've been through, dude. So it's like, hey, tell these people anything. What they
So
tell these people what they don't know about me. Tell these people what they don't know about me, right? So I think it's a pro move for Hans to be like, you know what, I did cheat in the past, and that is something that and own up to it, and be like, but in this instance, I did not cheat, and it's unfair and a defamation to do that to me, right? He's owning up to it, and it would be worse if he lied and it came out later. But the fact that he's owning up to his skeletons in his closet and he's saying, no, but I am a great player,
yeah,
regardless of the mistakes that I made in the past, and owning
right.
up to that. And I think that's another branding, lesson that we can take from that is that to be and even with the problems that you bring to the table, to be true to yourself and how you're moving forward and improving.
Yeah, and so I think the biggest branding principle here it may just be speculation here, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for it. Is that like look, these guys are geniuses. These guys are legit
The
genius. Like they're thinking at another level than me and you, right? And so
yeah.
if what you're saying is true, so basically you're saying that he was going in the casual games, he was going light on purpose just to like fool Carlson.
No, this is
Then he
speculation.
knew.
This is speculation. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
no,
I
no,
don't
no,
know.
no.
This is
This is all
speculation.
speculation. This is
Yeah.
all speculation. So this is
Yeah.
what we're saying.
Yeah.
Hans's master plan could have been, okay,
Yeah.
let me fool everyone by losing 5 games in a row, because if I beat Carlson, he's gonna dig up skeletons in my closet, and then when he digs
Yeah.
them up, then I can sue him for $100 million. Like that's the ultimate
Yeah.
strategy. So again,
That is the
branding.
ultimate strategy. And even honestly, like you say, even if he didn't think about it to begin with, like chess is all about reacting to your opponent's moves.
Oh, oh,
I think him reacting to what's happening in such a quick manner This happened with all the span of a few weeks. All these things. He's reacting very quickly. He's coming out and responding very quickly. He's and reacting in such a monetarily, positive way. Like potentially, it could be very lucrative. So him responding that way can also show like from a branding perspective. Even like I've seen a lot of brands that take, that a scandal comes out and they're
Oh
not
yeah,
quick
yeah.
on the bounce back. They're not quick on the bounce back. Like for
Right, right.
example, do you remember the BP oil spill? You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? Like that was
mm,
huge for the brand for a while. I still use BP because they got good gas. But I'm saying at the time I didn't use BP for a while. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Like for a while because I'm like, man, they just had that spill. I can't use BP like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but now but they didn't respond immediately. It was like the people were just bashing BP. They didn't say we're doing this, we're cleaning it up, we're working on it, and mistakes happen. They didn't come out
yeah, yeah, yeah.
immediately and say that, and I think that would have fixed that. But for forever is this BP oil spill, right? And if Hans hadn't responded quickly and tried to do damage control ASAP, you know what I'm saying? I think it would have been way worse. And I think, especially after the chess.com report, it would have been just like, he's a cheater. He's a cheater.
Right, right, right.
That's it,
Yeah, he's
And
already
like,
like
it would
all.
have been
It's already
impossible
done.
to bounce back. It would have been impossible
Yeah,
to bounce back from that. So, yeah.
yeah. So that's
Yeah, that's another
like
lesson.
again the I think the biggest thing here is just to understand, and like really a lot of these business. One of the most read books by business leaders, I'm sure you've
Yeah,
probably heard of this, is The Art of War, right?
definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
And like so like strategy planning, knowing how to react to things like branding aside, like of course branding, this is, we can label it under this, but like just business strategy in general, right? Like understanding
Mhm.
what moves to make, because it can make or break your brand, right? Like how you respond to
Yeah.
certain things, what voice you respond in, right? Like what position you take on certain things can have a super big impact. And that's where it comes, like you have to know the moves you're like playing and see like 20 steps ahead, right? Really think
Yeah.
through like the implications all the way down, like how is this going to impact our business and the public perception around our business? Because when we're talking about branding, what we're talking about is that perceived value that people have in their head for your brand,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
how do you
Yeah.
protect that? And that's why like a lot of these like business geniuses, right? Like Peter Thiel, I think, I don't think he's like a grandmaster, but like these guys, like the whole PayPal mafia, I'm pretty sure like they are all like super into chess, right? I'm pretty sure like
Yeah.
Peter Thiel,
Yeah.
I see here, he was one of the highest ranked under 21 players in the country when he was under 21,
Yeah.
of course. But like,
Yeah.
this is like that skill, playing chess gives you this understanding and like this long-term thinking and long-term like understanding of like what the risks are of each strategy that you take. That's a very
Yeah.
important skill to have.
Yeah.
And it's not something that comes easy. Like I suck at chess, you know what I mean? So it's one of
Yeah.
the things I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
want to get better at.
I think that one other implication that we forgot to mention, like you mentioned earlier about like personal branding, is the implication with name and likeness. Like you see, for example, the NCAA, all these athletes are signing, name and likeness deals, like like just to use their name, their image, or their likeness for a certain product, right? And
Right.
people don't understand really the power of that, right? For example, the play Magnus app, right? Because he's the best, like you said, he commands a premium just because of his name and likeness. It's really a chess engine. You're just playing against a computer, but you're playing against a
Mm.
computer that's like Magnus. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Let me ask you this:
You're not playing against a regular computer.
Do you think that if Magnus, like this lawsuit goes in the direction of Neimann, do you think that it would take away from Magnus Carlsen's brand and how people perceive him?
Because I think it would like for if he didn't cheat and like
Because then he
he
actually
won
lost,
fair and
right?
square. He actually took that out. Yeah, he took that out. And then what would be it would show him in I think in like the sore losing type,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
like for example like Michael Jordan, Detroit Pistons. He still talks about when they lost against him, they didn't like shake their hand. They didn't shake the team's hand.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They just walked out. And forever, that's gonna like Isaiah Stewart couldn't get into the dream team. All these things could happen just
Buddy,
because he was
buddy,
branded as a sore loser. Huh?
buddy. Why would you bring
What?
this up? We're from Detroit.
Okay, I'm just
Why you got
saying.
to bring up MJ's side right
I
now,
agree.
huh?
I'm just saying, once you get that branding as like, hey man, you're not taking the L in stride, you're not taking it positively, it's it's very hard to come back from that. But I genuinely don't think it will crash Magnus's brand. I think what it'll do is definitely elevate Hans's brand. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
As like he beat this chef grandmaster, and he beat him so much so nobody expected that he was accused of cheating.
right, right,
Because
right.
that's
Yeah,
that's about like, hey, bro, how'd you do that? Like, how'd you just do that? Like it makes you seem like a G. So
yeah,
it's like if he was actually is able to prove that in court, nobody can ever say like, hey, you cheated on that, during that game. And I think it's gonna have some big implications against what just because you have your poll like Magnus Carlsen, he has this insane poll as the best in the world, doesn't mean you could just accuse somebody just
right,
because
right, right.
they beat you of like cheating, because
Yeah, that's a
realistically
good
like
point.
Magnus just suspected it.
Yeah, so that's a good point.
Yeah,
I think like one thing that we see like when personalities get so big, like if you remember Tiger when he was caught cheating on his wife, a lot of his
yeah,
sponsors pulled his brand deals because he had this
yes,
family friendly image, right? Um,
yeah,
and
yeah,
so I think the implications here is that like these guys are so big that of course this is still within the sport. It's not like his personal life, but like once you start um, different labels start getting ascribed to you, you start losing the perception that people have in your head of you, right? So like
yes,
Tiger in
yeah,
the past was family friendly, amazing, best golfer of all time. Now it's like, oh, but he's also a cheater. You know what I mean? Now, like
yeah,
because
yeah,
he's had his whole comeback story, he's been able to come back. Now he's kind of positive light again, right? And so there's
yeah,
kind of ways you can rebound after that and stuff too. But regardless, I think one of the things that we have to understand is that for personal branding, right? When you get to a certain level, you have to think through these things because they have implications, and like it's you're
yeah,
playing with people's perceptions. And so now what you're saying is that he could, if he ends up being false, right? If somehow Hans Niemann can prove that he was innocent, then now
yeah,
Magnus Carlsen is a sore loser, and he's basically accusing other people of cheating because he can't take an L, right? And so that's
yeah,
a
yeah,
totally
yeah.
different like brand
The
of
narrative,
of
yeah, the
yeah, that's a totally
narrative is
different
entirely
narrative than
switched.
like, oh, I'm the
Yeah,
greatest chess player ever. You know what I mean? Like, is a totally
yeah,
different thing, right?
yeah.
And so,
Another thing is sometimes the names, man. I don't know why these chess players have these crazy like Hans. Who even names their kids Hans? Only Hans I know is
Hans
like
Zimmer,
Hans Zimmer before
yeah,
reading this guy. Yeah, yeah, Hans. That's it. Magnus Carlsen.
Hans is a
You know what I'm
genius
saying?
name. Like Hans Zimmer is a genius.
Hans is a genius name.
Yeah,
Hans Zimmer, genius composer. But I would, that's like, and then but like Magnus Carlsen, right? Like, he has a very unique, memorable name.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's so unique and memorable that somebody may call him Magnuson.
Yeah,
You know
that
you
wasn't
call
that
him
funny. I don't know why
Magnuson.
you're laughing out
you,
loud.
you called him Magnuson, bro. I was dying.
I
I was
did.
literally out here. I was like, don't let. Yeah, you called him Magnuson. You called him Magnuson.
Because I watch
Listen to the
Formula
recording. You
One.
called him
It's
Magnuson. You called him.
I
I was
watch
dying, bro.
Formula One. We got Kevin Magnussen in Formula One.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, Magnuson. He's like, I was like, I was like,
Why
Carl.
didn't you
Yeah,
say anything?
I was like, you were on a very deep train of thought. I didn't want to, I didn't want to be that guy to like derail you. I'd let you finish, but yeah, Carl's Magnuson. Wait, I forgot how to say his name now. Magnus Carlsen.
Yeah, you said
like,
it wrong
like,
too.
like, yeah, but I messed it up because you messed me up. But yeah, I'm saying like in the names, sometimes you just gotta go Magnus, and Hans,
Right, right.
and as it like those names can either be a very positive, can have a very positive use, or they could be also, can have a tough time. Like there are a lot of NBA players that their name is just sweet name, like Luka Doncic,
Mm.
like Luka Magic, like like he has all these name of likeness, just Luka, Trey Young, Ice Trey, like all these nicknames that can spin off,
Yeah, and so
just from
I
the
think
name.
we come from the Islamic perspective, right, where the names we give
Yeah,
our kids have meaning, right? I think
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
like uh, maybe some people don't have that same belief or view, but
Yeah.
I think there is intentionality behind a lot of parents behind like what they name their kids, right, and how they want their kids to be, and how they want
Yeah.
to the world to see their kids, right? And so I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
another lesson. I would like. I mean, I wouldn't. You're not branding your kid for a business, right?
You're
So
not.
I wouldn't
Yeah, you're not ready to
go
kid.
that
But you
far.
gotta
But
give your kid a
but but
good name. You gotta give
but
your kid a
technically,
good name.
you are branding them, right? Because
You
what is
are
branding, right? So the
you're
the
branding them
origin of
forever.
the origin of the word branding. Do you know what it came from?
Like branding cows,
Yeah.
like
So
to give
basically,
them a
like
step.
they would like stamp cows with like whatever their number or whatever, and that's what branding them would be. And so it's a way to
Yeah.
identify the cows. And so yes,
Yeah.
like when you give your kid a name, it's a way to identify this is that kid. You know what I mean? Like this is
Yeah.
Momo,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that sense,
Yeah.
it is branding in the purest
It
sense
is
of
branding.
branding. So
And honestly, like a lot of times, parents are not thinking about like your kid is gonna have to go to middle school. Like
yeah.
you have to think about the name. And
What?
I work in a pediatric hospital. Some parents really name their kids the worst names I've ever seen. Like just horrendous names.
Give me an
Like
example.
you should. Obviously, I do not want to give examples because these names are so unique. It'd be a HIPAA violation. It'd be a HIPAA violation. And like,
Oh,
don't
like
you?
because they would know.
Everybody like the kid will know. Don't know. Like, there's no other person named this name. So it's just you have to like be careful. Like as a parent, like you want to give your kid a best life. You do not want them to be immediately bullied in middle school. Like in like grade school, like they will have to live with that name for a long time. Or you have to think about the long term implications, of like, of the name. Like people were naming kids around like, they're born in COVID, Corona, all those names. And you're like, man,
Hmm.
that's a long term name. You have to think about the long term play,
Right, right,
how a
right.
name plays out across multiple cultures, multiple things. You want to give your kid versatility. My name, for example, it's not my parents' fault, but it's the same first and last name, right? Muhammad. And it's like, if I was to go and be any sort of famous person, I would have to be like Michael B. Jordan. I'd have to use that initial, Muhammad B. Muhammad. So like, there's like that distinguishing, like that's Muhammad B. Muhammad. Like Michael B. Jordan. There was already a Michael Jordan. You put Michael B. Jordan. So now we know like who exactly that is. So it's just like those are things his parents never thought about. His name Michael. Oh, his name was Michael Jordan. Whatever. He'll figure it out. But like that. Those are the things that we have to live with. The name me the kid. So Hans, now
sounds,
like
sounds like you
I
got
feel
some
like
pent up frustration you're getting out.
I, I feel like Hans had no option but to be a chess player. You know what I'm saying? Like he sounds like he's
Right?
a chess player. Like
Or a
his name is
composer.
Hans. Or a composer. That's it. Like you got to do something
You got
big.
two career
Like
paths.
so. You got two career paths. But alhamdulillah, like I love my name.
he's
It's
like,
just crack
he's
the joke.
like, Mom, I want to be a doctor. It's like, what do you think we named you Hans for? To
Yeah,
be a
Hans
doctor?
for it. Come on, bro. Come on. Bigger than that. Dream bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? But no, like I'm just kidding. I love my name.
This is Ahmed Cheema, and I just wanted to take a minute to thank you so much for watching through till the end of this video. It means the world to us. If you enjoyed this discussion and want to see more of this type of content, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. That really helps us decide which kind of content we need to be doubling down on. And let us know what you think is going to happen next in the Carlsen versus Neimann story in the comments below.